Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. Hope we went through the concepts of yesterday's class. Yesterday's class was based on, again, potential energy in an external electric field. When a charge is kept in an external electric field, we were calculating the potential energy. Okay, potential energy, right? Now, today we are going to continue with the behavior of conductors when it is kept in an electric field. So how the conductors behave when kept in a electric field. Okay, so materials are classified under two categories based on how they behave in the external electric field. Now, in an external electric field, both conductors and insulators, they behave in a different way. So, we are going to see that based on that they are categorized, right? So, what are conductors? Conductors are nothing but which allow the movement of electric charges through an electric, when it is in an electric field, in an external electric field, when the charges are allowed to move freely. Okay, so those substances are called as conductors. Now examples are copper, aluminium, silver, our human body, all are considered to be very good conductors. Whereas insulators are those substances where the movement of electric charges through them uh, will not be there when it is allowed to pass to an external field. When an external field is given, the in that materials where the charges are present, they will not be able to move. Okay, where the free motion of charges will not be there, those substances are called as insulators. Now you have been learning these concepts from your lower classes. Now examples of insulators are wood, ebonite, mica, glass. All these are examples of insulators. So what is happening in metallic conductors? Now in metallic conductors, when an external electric field is applied, the electrons that are in the outermost shell, that they are called as free electrons. Now they start moving. Okay, they start moving. Actually, before the electric field is given, also the electrons that are there in the outermost shell are free to move. And when it is given an electric field, now all these electrons will drift with a constant velocity. We are going to learn about drift velocity in the next chapter, current electricity. We are going to learn about what is called as drift velocity. So electrons are very free. Electrons that are there in the outermost shell, they are very free to move, right? But there are electrons which are bound to the nucleus. Now in the same atom, electrons in the innermost shells, since they are very much attached to the nucleus, those electrons which are in the inner shells cannot be moving freely as how the electrons in the outer shell are moving. So these electrons are called as bound charges. So this is what is happening in an conductor. Whereas in the case of insulators, the electrons are tightly bound to the nuclei and they cannot be detached from the atoms at all. This is the case of an insulator, right? So, due to the absence of free charges, there are no free charges in an insulator, and therefore we say that insulators are poor conductors of electricity. So materials are classified based on their behavior, like how the electrons move in them, as conductors and insulators. So now we are going to talk about how conductors behave in electrostatic fields. Now when an electric field is applied, how the conductors behave, right? That is the topic, behavior of conductors in electrostatic fields. Now to start with the first point says that the net electrostatic field is zero. Very important word here. the net electrostatic field is 0 in the interior of the conductor. Interior in the sense inside. Inside a conductor, the net electrostatic field is 0. Now there is a diagram given here. Now there is a conductor which is kept in the electric field. Now the electric field is here. Now this is the direction of the electric field. Electric field which is given externally. Now that is from positive to negative. Look here, this is positive and this is negative. So an external electric field is there, and in the external electric field I kept a conductor. So what happens when I keep a conductor in an external electric field? What happens? Now what happens? The charges that are there in the conductor, the charges get induced, and all the negative charges will move to the positive side, and all the positive side to the... Now there are charges that are induced here. Look at the conductor here. As soon as a electric field is given, charges are induced, or negative charges are getting accumulated to the positive side of the electric field, and all the positive charges are towards the negative side. You have collection of charges, and inside again you have an induced electric field. See here, the induced electric field, the direction of the induced electric field is opposite to that of the external electric field. So I can write is E external is minus, is in the direction opposite to that of the induced. See, look at the direction of the external electric field. It is from positive to negative. That is, it is moving towards right. Okay. But what about here? As soon as an external electric field is concerned, all the electrons that are there in the conductor, they start moving in the opposite direction, and all they get accumulated towards this side. Right? And you have a positive collection of positive charges on the right side, which creates again an electric field inside, which is called as an induced electric field. Now both are there in the opposite direction. So at a particular time, both the electric field will have the same value. So the net electric field inside the conductor will turn out to be 0. Okay, so the electric field that is produced due to the induced charges will be equal to the applied electric field at a certain process, which becomes equal and opposite, and hence the electric field, net electric field inside the conductor will be 0. This is the first point. Hope you understand. The net electrostatic field is 0 in the interior of a conductor. Okay, ma? Next, what is the next point? Read the next point. Just outside the surface of a charged conductor, electric field is normal to the surface. Now, let us imagine a sphere here. Okay. Now, the charge, usually whenever we talk about a sphere, when you have a charge inside, you have the electric field to be outward. This is what we read. Just outside, the charges are there on the outside, or that is on the surface of the sphere. Now we say that we saw this point in equipotential surface. I said this is a very, very important point. Now electric field is always normal to the surface. I was explaining you with a diagram. Suppose if this is going to be the electric field, and if the charge, let us consider a charge here. Okay. Now this charge will be keeping on moving like this in this direction, right? The displacement of the charge will be in this direction. So the displacement vector and E vector, they are inclined at 90 degree, right? In that case, electric field will be normal to the surface. If it is not going to be normal, in that case, the electric field is going to be tangential to the sphere. Tangential in the sense moving like this. If this is going to be tangential, then what about the static charges on the surface? The charges will not be static on the... Static means stationary. So if the electric field is going to have a tangential value along the surface, then the charges that are there on the surface will not be static, that is, will not be stationary. It starts moving, which produces current. Okay, so we cannot consider the electric field to be tangential. We need to consider the electric field to be normal to the surface. Okay, only then the charges that are present on the surface will be static. So the electric field is always normal to the surface. So first point, the net electrostatic field is zero inside the conductor. Second point, outside the surface. Underline the main point here. Outside the surface of a charged conductor, electric field is normal. Okay, so second point over. Excuse me, children. The third point, the net charge. What is this net charge? Net charge is, net is total. Okay, so the net charge in the interior of a conductor, interior is, as I said you, inside. The total charge in the conductor, inside the conductor, is zero. Now this is with respect to Gauss law. Gauss law, we read one point in the fourth application, like in the case of a spherical shell. Now inside a Gaussian surface, what will be the flux? You remember that point? The flux will be zero inside the Gaussian surface. We have to take that here. The net charge in the interior of a conductor is zero. Inside a conductor, the net charge is zero, and any excess charge resides at its surface. Last point we discussed. Where are the charges? The charges are on the surface of the conductor. Now look at this diagram, children. Now this is a diagram which is a conductor carrying an excess charge Q. The excess charge Q is here. Are you able to see this? So the charges are on the surface of the conductor. Now I have drawn a Gaussian surface. Look at the dotted lines. The dotted lines represents the Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface. So what are the dotted lines? Dotted lines are nothing but the Gaussian surface, and that Gaussian surface is near the boundary, right? Now in the first point we read that the electric field is zero at all points inside the conductor. That is the first point we discussed. Electric field is zero inside the conductor. So when the electric field is going to be zero, what should be the value of flux, children? Flux also should be zero. Flux in the sense, flux is number of charges, Q by epsilon naught. So if the electric field is going to be zero, then the flux also is going to be zero, because flux is E dot ds vector, which is equal to Q by epsilon naught. So if this is going to be zero, naturally this also will be zero. So hence we can say that there can be no charge in the interior of the conductor, right? And whatever charges, whatever excess charges are there, they will be at the surface of the conductor. So the excess charges will lie on the surface of the conductor. So what is the first point again? First point, the net electrostatic field is zero in the interior of the conductor. The second point is, outside the surface of a charged conductor, electric field is normal to the surface. The third point, the net charge in the interior of a conductor is zero, and any excess charge resides at its surface. Okay? Now, let us move on to the fourth point. The fourth point says that potential is constant within and on the surface of a conductor. Now, I wanted to just take you back to the relation between electric field and potential. So, what is electric relation between electric field and potential? E is equal to minus dV by dr. Now, this is also called as negative potential gradient. Hope you remember this. E is equal to minus dV by dr. Right? Now, as you all know, the electric field inside the conductor is what? What is the electric field inside a conductor? Inside a conductor, electric field is 0. Electric field is 0 and the electric field has no tangential component on the surface. So, no work is done. You remember the point? No work is done in moving a test charge within the conductor and on its surface, right? Yes, there is no work done. So, when there is no work done, what is not there? Potential difference will not be there, and hence we can say that V is a constant. V is nothing but potential. If there is no potential difference, then potential remains constant. So, look at the point. Potential is constant within and on the surface of a conductor. The main point involved here is, since the electric field is 0, no work is done in moving the charge from one to other, either inside the conductor or on the surface of the conductor. So, if there is no potential difference, then the potential remains constant. So, we say that V is a constant. Okay. So, we can also say that the surface will be what surface? Where the potential is going to be the same, potential is going to be constant. What is the surface called as? We remember what we discussed in the earlier topics. If the potential is going to be constant, you call that surface as an equipotential surface. The surface of a conductor is an equipotential surface which has the same value. Is it clear? So, fourth point, potential is constant within and on the surface of a conductor. Clear? So, we have discussed 4 points. Let us move on to the fifth point. The fifth point says that the electric field at the surface of a charged conductor. So, where the electric field we are going to consider? At the surface of a charged conductor is proportional to the surface charge density. So, how is surface charge density represented as children? Surface charge density is represented as sigma. Now, I am going to prove that the electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is proportional to the surface charge density. So, how I am going to prove this? Okay. Now, refer this diagram. Now, here let us consider a charged conductor. Now, this is the charged conductor whose surface charge density is taken as sigma, that is surface of conductor. It's a charged conductor. Now, that is of not a fixed shape, it is a irregular shape. And let sigma be the surface charge density. Okay, surface charge density. And let us consider a point P on this surface, right? So, we need to find out the electric field at this point. So, I need to go for what is called as a Gaussian surface. So, the Gaussian surface will be a cylindrical surface which resembles a pillbox. It's a small cylindrical surface which is the Gaussian surface. Now, half of the cylindrical surface is inside and half of it is outside. So, since the electric field inside a conductor is 0, let us not bother about this. Now, let us bother about only the flux that is outside the surface of the conductor. Hope you are very clear. Gauss law and the previous points, whatever we have discussed, everything is coming here. Okay, so when you consider this Gaussian surface, since half of the Gaussian surface is inside, as far as this part of the conductor is concerned, electric field is going to be 0, flux is going to be 0, and we are going to talk about the flux that is existing in this upper part alone. So here electric field vector is normal, and you consider a small surface which is considered to be on the surface of the conductor itself. See here, this dotted line, we consider a small surface area. Okay, so in this case, what will be the value of flux here? Psi of E is equal to E into del S. That is E dot dA. I will substitute E del S. Right? Now, what is the surface charge density formula? We know the surface charge density to be sigma is equal to Q by area. Now, Q here is same, area is del S. So, what is Q now? Now, this is sigma. And what is Q now? Q is equal to sigma into del S, which is the charge. Okay. So let us take this equation. Flux is equal to E del S equal to flux, which is Q by epsilon naught. You substitute for Q by epsilon naught as sigma into del S by epsilon naught. So epsilon naught, del S will get cancelled. So here I have the value of E to be sigma by epsilon naught. So look at the electric field and surface charge density. Epsilon naught, of course, it is a constant. So thereby I prove electric field is proportional to the surface charge density. Okay, are you able to understand this explanation? So what is the fifth point? Electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is proportional to the surface charge density. So I have proved that here. Okay. Now the last point is electric field is zero in the cavity of a hollow charged conductor. Now look at this diagram. Now again, this is a charged conductor, right? And there is a small cavity inside the charged conductor, which is considered to be this, a small cavity, and inside this cavity there are no charges. So electric field is zero, potential is constant, and there is no charges that is there inside the cavity. Now for this cavity, you consider the Gaussian surface very close to the cavity. Now here this is the Gaussian surface, the dotted lines. It is not negative charges, it is the dotted line which is the Gaussian surface. Okay, so when you consider a Gaussian surface, inside the Gaussian surface we know that electric field is zero. Electric field is zero, no flux will be there inside the Gaussian surface, right? So charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface is also zero, right? So where the charges will lie in this case? The charges will lie on the surface of the conductor. Here is the charges. So the electric field will be, of course, radially outward. So what is happening here is the entire surface is on the sphere, on the surface, and this cavity is protected from any external charges. All this part is completely protected. This part is completely shielded. In this part you have no electric field, no charges, and the potential is going to be constant here. So the electric field is zero in the cavity of a hollow charged conductor. Now this is a charged conductor. Now inside you consider a cavity. Now inside this you have the electric field to be zero. Actually we are going to talk about what is called as electrostatic shielding. You know what is the meaning for the word shielding, children? Shielding is to protect. Okay, so whenever you consider a conductor with a cavity, now inside the cavity there are no charges. Whatever may be the shape, size of the cavity, whatever may be the charge on the conductor, whatever may be the electric field, but inside the cavity the electric field continues to remain zero and there is no charges, and this acts as a protective layer. This shields, okay, that part alone is shielded. So this phenomenon is nothing but electrostatic shielding, which means you are making a region free from electric field. Okay, so this process, this is nothing but you call it, this phenomenon is nothing but you call it as electrostatic shielding, where the electric field is zero. Okay, I'll give you an example. Now, whenever there is a thunderstorm accompanied by lightning, people say that you are not supposed to go and stand under a tree, okay, or in an open space you cannot go and stand. Have you heard this concept? நல்ல மழை பெய்யும் போது என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா, மரத்துக்கு கீழே போய் நிற்காத, இல்லை வெட்ட வெளியில போய் நிற்காத, நல்லா மழை பெய்யுது, இடி மின்னல். ஸோ அட் தட் டைம் யூ cannot go and stand under a tree. What is the reason? And it is better, it is safe. You are safe when you go and sit inside a car or a vehicle, right? What is the reason? What is the reason here is, when you go and sit inside a car, which is a metallic body, now that metallic body of the car prevents electric field to enter into that, and it shields the area which is inside the car, whereas the trees are completely conductors. So what happens when lighting is nothing but very high electric power? So conductors, definitely they will conduct. மரத்துக்கு கீழே போய் நின்னா உடனே என்ன ஆயிடும்? If you are going to have the impact of the lightning, then you will be burned into ashes, because electricity of very high power, right? But whereas when you are very very safely made to sit in a car which is a metallic body, you are safe. So we say that it is better to be sitting inside a car or a vehicle rather than standing near a tree or an open ground, because the metallic body of the car becomes an electrostatic shielding from lightning. Similarly, there are so many components of electronic devices which are shielded from electric disturbances by keeping metal shields. Metal shields are kept so that these electronic devices are protected from external electrical disturbance, which shields, the metallic body shields the electrical gadgets. So this phenomenon is nothing but you call it as electrostatic shielding, which is based on the phenomenon electric field is zero in the cavity of a hollow charged conductor. Is it clear, children? So what are the points so far we have discussed? The first point is, again let me recall, the net electrostatic field is zero in the interior of a conductor, right? Whenever there is an electric field, when you keep a conductor in the electric field, the net electric field will be zero at a certain time. So no electrostatic field is there in the conductor, inside the conductor. The second point, just outside the surface of a charged conductor, electric field is normal to the surface. The third point, the total charge in the interior of a conductor is zero and any excess charge resides at its surface. The fourth point, potential is constant within and on the surface of a conductor. The fifth point, electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is proportional to the surface charge density. So this I have proved by taking a conductor and you considering a Gaussian surface, and I proved that electric field is directly proportional to the surface charge density. And finally, electric field is zero in the cavity of a hollow charged conductor, and the phenomenon of electrostatic shielding is explained through this concept. Now it is nothing but shielding something from the electrical field that is existing outside. So you call that phenomenon as electrostatic shielding. Okay, so go through all these points, children. Tomorrow we'll be moving on to a new topic, capacitance, capacitor and capacitance. But before that, we need to go in detail about what is called as a dielectric. With that, we are entering into a new topic called capacitor. So we'll be continue with that tomorrow. So go through these concepts and hope you are preparing for the test. Right? So keep preparing for the test. See you tomorrow.